Lindenwood head coach Jed Stugart, the team coming off a exciting victory over Stony Brook, what was their home opener. They are on the road. It's going to be another FBS opponent, Miami, Ohio, this weekend, 3:30 Eastern, ESPN Plus. So, Coach, thoughts on your team and that win, and we'll go to some questions.
Oh, it's fun to be back home. Obviously, it seemed like forever. I mean, we're feel like we're in the middle of the semester, and we finally have a home game. So it was fun, the atmosphere, the energy, fun to be back in front of our fans and our parents and families, and just really proud of our guys. I didn't realize till the end of the three weeks of being on the road. It's not really 3 road games. It's kind of the travel and the stuff. You worry that takes a little bit of a toll. I thought we felt that a little bit at Charleston Southern, early on, hearing how many kids really did feel like energy-wise, it was just hard to get going. And I think that did take a toll. So I'm proud of them fighting through a lot of that stuff. And then, coming home, we really emphasized, from the week before, starting fast. Obviously, I think every coach in the world uses that slogan, and but how do you do that? So I was really proud of our coaches, our players that really took to coaching this week, and we saw in that game the importance of starting fast, and so we were able to set a tone early and take advantage of those, because I got to say, that's the first time we've ever played each other. Didn't know much about coach, didn't know much about, but I tell you what, that is a really good football program. And the reason why I say that, I think I say that it's not cliche. I mean, when a team gets down like that, they have a chance to maybe just throw in the towel, and they came out hot, fighting, scratching, clawing, and so I give a lot of credit to them, because that's a really solid football team. And that's what we really praised our guys about this. We didn't spend a lot of time on the third quarter because we got a little bit, we got a little bit passive in the third quarter, even us coaches, kind of realizing that, we were almost playing to run the clock out, and we kind of started to get a little bit on our heels. And so my thing with our team was like, we got to fix some things, because when momentum shifts, we got to figure out a way to get that back. But what I was proud of is that they figured out a way to grab that momentum back. And I think we had a 97-yard, they pinned us back, 98, 97-yard drive toward the middle of the fourth quarter that really, was what I was probably most proud of in that game, is to take the ball down the field and get us in a position where we could keep our offense out there in victory formation. And, that took key third down plays. Jared Rhodes was a stud, our running back on that last series. And that's what I was proud of, not putting all the energy in what happened in the third quarter. I was still proud of that they fought their effort to win a football game. College football games are hard to win, and I was really proud of that. So we didn't, obviously we got to fix some of those things, but that's what I was proud of.
Thanks, Coach. We'll go to some questions. Ben is with us. Go ahead, Ben.
Hi, Coach.
What's up, Ben?
Yeah, I got to hear from you post game. So, and you gave us great stuff. So I really only have one question that I'm looking for, and that's kind of your young wide receivers. And you talked about it a little bit in that post game conference of Rico Bond and Jalen Smith. And you had said that Rico, he just won Freshman of the Week in the conference for the second time, over 100 yards receiving for the second time. And you'd said that he played like a freshman week 1. He wasn't making maybe smart plays and things. And just kind of maybe expanding on specifically the growth you've seen in him and Jalen Smith, who he had, I think, 1 catch in both week 1 and week 2, dropped the first pass against Charleston Southern, and since then has made a bunch of tough contested catches. One put you down by the 1-yard line there on Saturday. Just kind of specifically what you've witnessed in the growth of those two guys, just even from week 1 to week 4.
Well, we talk about trust in our program all the time. And I think, the reason why, in our press conference, I talked about Jalen and Rico, because both those guys, were challenged greatly. After week one, Rico was challenged by his coach, by his offensive coordinator, by me, because he's a kid that really cares. And he's a young player, and guys can take it two ways. They can get into their feelings and feel like, well, the coach is against me, and start moping around. But Rico decided to, not decided, that's who he is. Like he likes to be coached. And I'm just really proud because when he's seeing the fruits of the labor of when you run routes in games where you're supposed to be like you do in practice, and you don't. And this is just not about Rico. This is a lot of freshmen that are playing their first college football game. They get in games and maybe they feel like, oh, in high school maybe I could improvise, and I had to. Maybe I was the guy and I had to improvise. In college, when the quarterback's counting on you, and Rico's number one, he's taking coaching. Jalen Smith is such a talent, and that kid, I love that kid. He's a little reserved, but he took coaching. There was games in the first game where he could probably go be combative for balls, and he was letting corners squeeze him out of bounds and maybe feel like, well, I'm out of this play, and he was challenged. Like, no, man, you got to go be combative. And to see the catches, I mean, he made one of the most spectacular catches down that on the 1 yard line, a deep ball from that looked like he was going to get squeezed out of bounds. And he fought against that pressure and ducked up and dove underneath the DB and made this catch. And he was combative all. So it's fun to see these guys taking coaching, and they're responding because they care, and they want to be the best for their team. And those are just two examples. We challenged a lot of our guys from week one because we got a dose of humility that we needed. I hate losing games, but I look back at stuff and go like, well, maybe that's what we needed to find out then, that just because you beat a team the week before, it doesn't mean you're just going to roll on the field. And so we've had, so I'm like, we're not there yet. We got a long ways to go, man. We got a tough schedule ahead of us. Even just not Miami of Ohio, but we've got really good football teams in this league that we're going to have battles with, and we're keeping our guys humble. And I told Rico yesterday, you got the freshman player of the year. That means I'm going to be on your tail even harder this week. And he smiled because he likes that stuff. Because I was going to say, thanks, Kyle, for making him freshman of the year. Now I got to go keep him humble all week, right? But he's not that kind of kid. He goes to work hard. I'm just teasing him if he was listening. But it's so that's what I'm seeing. A lot of guys that are caring. They're not just they're realizing, man, we're not the team yet that I think we can be. We're still not. We learned those lessons in the second half, and they're just going, okay, what's the next thing that we can chip away at to get better, and not feeling like, hey, we won a game. Let's I already told them, I think this is going to be a much tougher game this week than App State, and that's not taking the shot at App State. This is a really, really good football team. Probably going to be a little different, probably going to be a little more physical, a little faster. So if you think that a 13-20 loss at App State and you feel good about yourself, like, hey, we can go in and play with any FBS team. This is a team that you got to just speak real to. And I just said, we got a 99% chance of losing this game based off of ESPN, all this stuff, which means you got a 1% chance, man. So, as Dumb and Dumber would say, so you're saying there's a chance? Well, of course, but you can't just think, you're just going to show up and, hey, we played good against App State. That's going to naturally happen against Miami of Ohio. So we know the task at hand. But again, all we're going to preach all week is just great effort, not on Saturday, great effort today at practice in the weight room in the build up to Saturday. That's you got to have purposeful practices before you can worry about how you're going to play in a game.
Right. Thanks, Coach. I'll throw it to Kyle for the rest of this.
Yeah, I just wanted to end about a little bit more
Drew.
on Miami, and they played UNLV really tough, and it came down to the end, and they just came up short. But more specifics on what you've seen of them.
Well, yeah, like I said, the reality is they're a really good football team. They're going to be really hungry. Tough loss Saturday. It's homecoming. They're better than what their record shows, and we know that. They're really well coached, and I'm still, I kind of try to look at both sides. So I spent a little time watching offensively and watching a little bit defensively today, just to kind of get a more more understanding of this team and the things I feel like we can try to. There's not a lot of stuff that you can exploit. I always say if you can find something in a team that you can exploit and try to work that, and that's how you know if a team's really well coached. Is there's not a lot of stuff that you can find that, hey, just go exploit this and you might be in good shape. They're coached well. They play hard. They're fast. It's going to be a tough battle on Saturday. We got to be ready to go. Because if we're not, if we kind of take the approach that, like I talked about with App State, they will run us out of the building. And so we've got to have that kind of mindset this week. But it'll be fun. Be fun to again. I think the part that I'm having another FBS game before in App State, I think a lot of the kids that first time they've been in that environment, that part's not going to be new. They're expecting it's going to be loud. It's going to be people saying things you never heard before. All those things, we've already gone through that. Our kids handled it well at App State, and I anticipate the things that are outside of the game, our guys will handle well. So I think that helps us from an App State game, but we got to treat this like a whole different animal.
Well, Coach, appreciate your time as always. Best of luck this weekend. We'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.